Hey, I'm KimberlyMone't, and this is Relatable Content. Okay, so I decided that this episode was going to be dedicated to giving the viewers, listeners that have been tuned in a little bit of information, and the new ones that are tuning in to know a little bit about the inspiration behind relatable content and what inspired me to really start my podcast. This podcast is kind of sparked from me having numerous conversations with different people. It doesn't matter demographic, um, age group, their ethnicity, male, female, however they identify, but it's always been a common thing for me to, whenever I have a conversation with people, we talk and these topics just come up. And I was just like, damn, like I just talked about this with this person, or I was just talking about this with this person, or, and of course, sometimes they may not know the people that I'm talking about, and I reference those other people to them, but this has kind of been a recurring thing for me. And to be honest, it sparked a couple years back, and I just never, really got into that mindset that I needed to put something out here that shows there's conversations to be had. There are people that needed to be heard in various ways, and that's kind of the basis of relatable content, which is there's topics along the lines of workplaces, dating, family. We're getting into maybe healthcare, political, cultural, things of that sort. And when we have those conversations, it's like I'm sitting here and I'm talking to these people, and these people meaning you guys who know me personally, whether it be friends or family, or then some of you who don't really know me personally, or that in depth. You just see what I want you to see, whatever it is. If we've crossed paths and had conversations, 9 times out of 10, it is some legit, real conversations that we have. And that's kind of what inspired me to sit down and have this moment with you guys and share a piece of me and you all as well. So it's like, I know in one of my previous episodes I talked about procrastination and, like, not doing what you need to do and putting things off in lieu of fear. So my thing was, this podcast was something that was brewing, stirring the pot, stirring the pot. I kept saying, I'm gonna do it. Didn't do it. Wrote it down, still didn't do it. It just took one day for me to just, say, you know what, just do it. Don't be so much of a perfectionist. And I know sometimes we have those moments where in our own endeavors, even if it's not a podcast, whatever you're doing, you have a moment where you put it off. Even if you are a perfectionist, or if you have OCD about something, or whatever it is that you're doing and you're so anal about it, you're blocking the blessings that could be bestowed upon somebody else. So I wasn't blocking my blessing because I'm passionate about this. It feels good. Like I'm talking to you guys. I'm getting, good feedback, constructive criticism, whether it's good or bad, whichever, and I listen to it. I love it. I love to hear it. Y'all keep telling me, keep feeding me, and it's only going to get better. But, like, I do want to say that we all have those moments where we kind of second guess and we put things off because we are afraid of what it can be, or we don't really see what it can be in that moment. So we just let that thing, like I said in the previous episode, called fear, set in. And that's kind of what happened with me with this podcast, putting it out. Sometimes I was in moments I would second guess it. I would go back and forth. I would, say I need to have this equipment, I need to have this camera, I need to have this and have that. And then I just say, you know what? Just do it. Like, why not? Just go ahead. So what? All right, go ahead, put it out. Put it out and perfect it as you go along. One of my family members definitely told me the same thing. He's like, you know what? Sometimes I love to see when something is growing. If I can watch something with someone doing something that they're passionate about and that's inspiring people, I can see them growing with it. And I love to watch them grow. So that was kind of what I had in the back of my mind as well with relatable content, was just, you know what? Just put it out there. And it's just not with the podcast, just with anything. Just do it. Because you can always revert back. You can re-edit something. You can go, reconfigure it, figure it out. But as long as you took that first step to do something, that is what it stemmed from. So now, like I said, my wide array of topics basically stem from the conversations that I had from people. And so much so that, like, when I have these conversations with people, it's always that thing that just inside of me that just like, somebody needs to hear this. Like, what am I doing? Somebody needs to hear this. These are good conversations. Like, I've had conversations. I'm sitting there. Maybe some of you listening or watching, you're like, yep, Kim, or maybe if you call me Monet family, where the cameras at? Somebody need to be recording this. Somebody need to be listening, because that's what it is always. So yeah, it's sometimes it's fun, but sometimes it's real life, real intimate things and details that people discuss and they're comfortable with talking about. But also, it's like, you want somebody to hear this, because it's not just them hearing it for them hearing it, but hearing it because this is your perspective. This is your take on it. So when I'm having this moment with my co-hosts that I've had brought on the show, and I'll continue to have for the second season that's coming up, is this is a safe space. You know, we want to talk about the things that maybe someone isn't talking about, or bring light to this issue, or this thing that popped up, because it is relatable. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian. It doesn't matter. Male, female, older, mid-20s, 18. It doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, some of this is going to still come up. And that's just the inspiring factor and the drive that keeps me going and inspired me to create this platform to deliver these messages to you guys. Now, I know sometimes you may not relate to every episode, but that's okay, because everything isn't for everybody. But I guarantee you, when you listen through these previous 7 seasons that I've put out, one of them has resonated with you, and it's foolproof. One of my guests is going to be coming on season 2, has been adamant, tuned in, listening, and it's like, you know what, I relate to a few of your episodes. I like it, but it was that one that I really, really related to. That is all it takes. Even if you don't relate to at least, even if you don't relate to all of them, I'll say, if you relate to one, job well done. That's just the premise of it. So when I say relatable content, it means it's relatable on the level of, I talk about it, maybe you've talked about it in your own circle of your friends or family members, co-workers, or whatever, but the general idea is that it still came up. Something of that sort, it still has come up. It's real life. We're living in a real world. It's real things going on. But like I said, the inspiration, it came because I did not let that fear set in, and that we all had this moment because we all were forced with this coronavirus to sit still and to face the music. And it's basically on the strength of, what are you doing with your time? Are you doing something that is going to change you and shift you to be a better you when we come out of this? Or are you doing something that is going to help somebody else? It's a lot of different variables with it. So I'm grateful for this time that we have, that is like a downtime period with COVID. Because without having this halt and this stop, I wouldn't be able to put out this platform to this podcast platform to deliver these messages, deliver these words of wisdom, the encouragement or lessons or whatever it is to everybody that's listening and watching. So like I said, I'm grateful for the downtime, even if it was a hard time to get into it from the beginning. But the premise of it is for you all to relate. I want everybody to keep tuning in, giving feedback. I love to hear it, love to see it, all of that. Putting it out there so I can know what to put out there when the time comes. And I make sure that I tailor as well the guests that are coming, so it's very conversational. That's another thing about this episode, about this podcast. It's conversational. It's for you to sit there, whether you're driving or sitting in your living room, wherever you're at, and you can listen to it. And even if you just nod once or like, yes, that's all it is. The job is done. But season 2, I don't know if I should call it a season, but whatever you want to call it, a podcast. But the second season, I'm gonna, have episodes recorded and put that out, and I'll be promoting it so you guys know when it's coming out. But it's gonna be even more, even more intricate, even more in depth. I'm gonna tap back into some of the previous conversations and then dig a little bit deeper because there's a lot of different variables that go into each conversation and each episode that I've had that can be talked about and elaborated on. But that's the point of it. It's relatable. I want you all to relate because I relate. It's real life. We're in it. And it's cliche and I hate to say it, but we are in it together because it's the game of life that we're playing. But I want you guys to tap in season 2 because I'm going to be cheersing y'all virtually on this podcast. But this is Relatable Content. I'm going to tune in or tap in with y'all for season 2. Stay tuned for some more good episodes and good co-hosts and good energy. Peace and blessings, guys. Love you.